On today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, The Flash opens this weekend, but what kind of box office returns are they looking at for this opening weekend? We'll talk about that. Also, one of my favorite shows on television, Harley Quinn, comes back. They've announced it's coming back this summer. Warner Brothers really wants to kiss and make up with Christopher Nolan. They're doing some pretty extreme things to try to get him back. Also, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, it just had its world premiere, and its overall critic ratings went up, but not by a lot. That and a whole bunch more. The John Campea Show starts right now. Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in our little studio, brought to you in part by our friends at Mint Mobile. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world: movies, movie news, TV, and streaming, all sorts of good things, not just giving you our opinions, but hopefully giving you some information and context so you guys can form your own well-informed opinions, whether they're the same or completely different from ours. Sitting with me today, we got Ray Ora.
Howdy.
Jonathan Voico's here.
Hello, everybody.
Chris Carr is in the house.
Hey, guys.
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. And here's how our show goes, guys. We're going to spend the first part talking about those predetermined topics we just discussed. Then in the last part of the show, we're going to take questions from our YouTube channel members. Now, if you guys are listening to this podcast, and thank you for listening to our podcast, we also have a YouTube channel that we put videos up on every day. And we have channel members over there. And we ask every day our beloved channel members to submit topics and questions for us to address. And we'll do those in the last part of the show. All right, with that down, guys, let's roll into it here, and we're going to start with this. It's game day.
Game day.
The Flash opens today. 10 years.
A decade in the making.
A decade in the making. And The Flash is finally here. It opens today worldwide. A bunch of us got to see it at CinemaCon a little over a month ago. A bunch of you guys had a chance to see it at a couple of advanced fan screenings this week, but today is the day, fully opens nationwide. And I'm very excited because I really like this. No, I love this movie. I think this movie is great. Not one of the greatest comic books of all time, but a great, fun, entertaining movie nonetheless that Michael Keaton totally rules in. I love Michael Keaton in this. Now, one of the things that I've been saying, and we made a video about this earlier today on the YouTube channel, but one of the things I've been saying forever about this movie is I have no idea how it's going to do. I just don't. Like every movie I have a guess, I think this one will come in about $50 million. This one will come about 100. I honestly have had no clue about which side would prevail. The pessimism side about DC films have been really struggling, all the Ezra Miller drama, all this other kind of stuff, it's going to be low. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if this movie opened to $40 million. On the other hand, there's great positive buzz rolling about this film. Michael Keaton is back as Batman. I wouldn't be surprised if the thing's open to $120 million, like both ways. Well, we are now on the week of it opening up, and Deadline has come out and said that they are projecting that this film's going to come in right around $70 million. Now, let's put that into context of the last couple of DC films that have come out. Black Adam opened to $67 million, right around where they're saying Flash is going to open. Black Adam went on to make $370, $380 million, something like that. It didn't hit $400 million. Shazam 2, well, was pathetic. I like this movie. I do. I like it, but its results were pathetic. $30 million opening weekend, on its way to a $130-something million overall worldwide box office.
Poor Zachary.
Poor Zach. Mm-hmm. I like Zach. I like Zach very much.
I do too.
But this doesn't matter if I like it or not. This is the biggest flop in the history of comic book films, at least as far as the big blockbuster, big studio DC Marvel films. There's never been a bomb as big as this one. Well, now we got The Flash, that they're targeting at right around the Black Adam number of $70 million. Now, I don't believe that just because Black Adam made 67 and went on to make under $400 million, that necessarily means the same thing's going to happen to Flash. As a matter of fact, I believe Flash will make more than Black Adam because it's got a couple things going for it. Number one, it's a better movie. I liked Black Adam, but Flash is a better movie. Mm-hmm. Number two, I think a lot of the audience is going to have fun with this thing. And I think there's going to be a higher potential for repeat viewing and a higher potential for word of mouth to get more people going out. Now, again, this movie's not going to be $1 billion film. People have been arguing with me about this for 6 months. Flash is not going to be $1 billion film. But I think it can exceed the high 300s that Black Adam did. So I think it's going to do better than that. But still, look, I said I wouldn't be surprised if it makes 40. I wouldn't be surprised if it makes 120 opening weekend. So 70 would be kind of right in there. Chris, what do you think about this opening number of 70? Do you think it'll be higher or lower than that? And then more to the point, since it's opening close to what Black Adam did, do you expect the same results that Black Adam had, or do you think it could exceed what Black Adam ultimately made? What do you think?
I think the 70 number is pretty much on the money. I think that sounds about right. Not a terrible opening, but not exactly what DC wants, obviously. They would like some higher numbers. Now, I've had to reconcile that I live in a bubble with people who work in this industry. Even my friends who are not actors or writers or on the production side of things work to some extent in the film industry here in LA.
Right.
Even my friends who work in insurance, they cover for studios. So the people who I know all know about the Ezra Miller drama. Our average moviegoer may not. They might not unless they follow, TMZ people, those kinds of things a lot. But I do think the average moviegoer is pretty turned off by DC at this point because they know that there's going to be a bunch of different movies and are kind of like, well, who's in the Justice League now? What's the Justice Society? Who are these people? What's going on? I don't know. Because when my parents talk to me about this, they'll also do the, hey, yeah, who's in the lineup right now? Is how they run it.
Right.
Who's on Lunchbox?
Yeah, who's on the Lunchbox? It's very much that. So I do think people have kind of lost a little bit of interest or faith in what DC puts out. Now, if the word of mouth is as strong as what critics were saying with those initial reactions post-CinemaCon, what some other people have been saying, then I do think this could have some legs. But I personally see this kind of just circling the drain. Not as bad as Black Adam, certainly not as bad as Shazam, but I don't think it's going to have the staying power that they were really hoping for, especially with how much this movie's been talked up.
Ray, you liked this movie. You actually, I think you said for you it's your favorite DC movie.
Yeah, it is.
Are you planning on? Actually, I need to see it again this weekend before I do my open spoiler. Would you be interested in going to see this movie again?
Yeah, definitely. Because I want to see if my initial reaction still matches up with my second viewing.
Because it's been over a month since you saw it.
Because I went into that screening so hyped just to see the film because it just looked good to me. I mean, and I came away very happy. But I also want to see it a second time just to get a feel of like the audience more, and just to see if I can confirm what I saw at CinemaCon because it's been a while now.
Yeah, and we saw it when we watched it. We were in a pretty hyped environment.
Yeah,
I mean that like 5,000 seat auditorium that was filled with a lot of buzz, and it's bigger than any movie theater. Like the Celine Dion Theater there at Caesar's Palace. I mean, it's like 5,000 seats in there. So it was a pretty charged atmosphere. It's going to be interesting to see how we feel about it a second time.
Didn't get to see all the cameos.
Yep.
Because there were things that they held back from the CinemaCon audience. So
yeah,
still
apparently
some Easter eggs
just
for you guys.
tiny little things, like a little, nothing that fundamentally changes the movie.
Yeah, but
just
still some fun little nuggets for you on your second viewing.
But I'm going to be curious to see if those things take away from the movie or whether they add to it. I have a feeling, speculation, I have a feeling it's going to take away from the movie. I don't know. We will have to see. Okay, question is, how are you guys feeling about this? I wonder, do a lot of you guys planning to go see it? I mean, at $70 million, there's got to be some of you, but not necessarily all of you. Listen, I'm telling you, I think this is a fun movie. I think you guys need to go out and check it out. And I cannot wait for us to do an open spoiler discussion on Sunday. So just a little plug there. This Sunday, we will be doing an open spoiler discussion live stream. Hope you guys will come and join us for that. All right. With that down, guys, let's move on to this. I talk about a lot on this show and on our channel that one of the best experiences as a movie and TV fan is not watching something you were excited about and it turns out to be great. That's wonderful when that happens. Totally wonderful when it does. But the best thing is when you watch something that you had no expectations for and end up loving it. There's something really special about that. And Harley Quinn is one of those things for me. They first started advertising this Harley Quinn animated TV show, and I said, this is a stupid idea, because I generally don't like a lot of Marvel or DC animated stuff. There are certainly some things I really do, but a lot of it I don't. And then I saw the previews for it and I thought, this really looks idiotic. Whose stupid idea was it to make this? And then it debuted and I wasn't going to watch it. And then I had a whole bunch of our listeners writing out to me and saying, John, I really think you're going to like Harley Quinn. And finally, after a while I gave in. I'm like, all right, fine, we'll check it out. And I fell in love with the show within 5 minutes. The opening scene of the first episode of Harley Quinn with Harley and the Joker, robbing and taking over the boat of all the rich guys in Gotham Harbor. I was hooked on this show within the first 5 minutes, and it has never let me down. It has introduced me to some of my favorite characters on TV now. Clayface, unbelievable. The Joker in this, unbelievable. But probably most of all, Bane. Bane. Who gave one of the greatest single lines in the history of television when asked why he was eating that big plate of pasta, him saying, I'm carving up for the fuck fest. One of the greatest lines ever. By Bane. I love Bane and singing. Of course, Harley and Ivy is the best romance I've seen in any comic book stuff.
You love to see Harley in a healthy relationship.
Yes, you do.
You really do.
You really do, especially coming out of the situation she was in with Joker.
Yeah.
I love this show so much. Anyway, I was just thinking the other day, they had a Valentine's Day special earlier in the year, which was quite funny. But I was just thinking like 2 days ago, when is the next season coming? Well, wait no more, because the reports are coming out now that, as you can see here, Harley Quinn season 4 sets an HBO Max, Max. You know what? It's going to be a while before I call it Max. HBO Max, because you never should have taken the HBO out of it, you frickin' morons. Anyway, Harley Quinn season 4 is coming to HBO Max this summer. So that could be anytime within the next, 75 days that we're going to be getting it. And I cannot wait. And again, whenever I think about this, Chris, about the show, I just think back to myself at CinemaCon, Comic-Con, years ago when I saw the first bits of advertisement for a Harley Quinn animated show is coming. Yay. And my first reaction was like, oh, hey guys, we have a character who's kind of a little bit popular right now. Let's make a show about her. And now flash forward to today that I am, other than maybe the next season of Last of Us or the next season of House of the Dragon, I don't know that there's anything else on television I am more excited about watching than this. Anyway, are you a big Harley Quinn fan?
I enjoy it so much. I am very far behind because of the things that I auditioned for. I'm watching a lot of Disney Junior and Nick Jr., which makes my algorithm weird. It's very confusing when your husband comes home and is like, why are we watching these Baby Town frolics? What is happening? Mm-hmm. So I am pretty behind. I did get to watch the Valentine's special, but I still need to catch up on all of seasons 2 and 3.
Oh, so you've only seen season 1.
I've only seen season 1 and then the Valentine's Day special.
Gets better.
I'm very excited about it. I also love, though, too, I was reading this in the direct when I was trying to kind of get a little research on this, too. Kite Man's getting a spinoff?
No.
Yeah.
According
to the direct, there's going to be a show called Kite Man Hell Yeah.
I was going to say, hell yeah.
So
I love Kite Man.
So there's going to be another spinoff from the animated series to have him have his own show with the other DC villains.
That's great.
Yeah.
I am
That's what they're saying,
just the way their take on every single one of the classic Batman-ish villains, I love them all. Mm-hmm. I talked about the Bane favorite line. I don't know why. Clayface, the line is so stupid. It's so dumb. And out of context, it's not going to mean anything to you guys if you haven't seen the show. But whenever I think of Clayface, I just think of him saying, Lady Gaga. I want to die laughing every time I just think of it.
It's the proper pronunciation.
You got to see it in context. But yes, a Kite Man spinoff.
A Kite Man spinoff. So supposedly, this was on the direct earlier today, that there was kind of this untitled show kind of floating around featuring the fan favorite supporting character Kite Man. And just today, they released the name Kite Man Hell Yeah, highlighting the central villain even further as he teams up with iconic DC rogues like Bane and Lex Luthor.
Oh my God.
So I need to catch up on a lot of things, but also fucking in on that. That's amazing.
Oh my God. I'm so excited for that. Yeah, guys, listen. This is going to sound strange coming from, but listen to me. If you have not started or tried watching Harley Quinn, now, grant it is very adult humor. So if that sort of thing is not your bag, then yeah, Harley Quinn will not be for you. It is incredibly filthy and dirty and very vulgar and all that kind of stuff. But that's right up my alley. But if that kind of stuff doesn't bother you, I highly, highly, highly suggest you guys check out Harley Quinn.
I'm just so far behind because, as you know, I fucking hate swearing.
Oh, you've
terrible.
got to get on it. You got to get on Star Watch because the show just gets better and better. All right, guys, listen. We still need to talk about Warner Brothers is trying desperately to get back together with Christopher Nolan. The Indiana Jones reactions coming out. We're going to get to all those things, but first we're going to take just a quick second here and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at MasterClass. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, MasterClass. With MasterClass, you can learn from the world's best minds anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace. You can learn filmmaking from James Cameron himself, you know, the guy who made 3 of the 4 biggest films of all time. Improve your writing by taking screenwriting from one of the greatest who's ever done it, Aaron Sorkin. Or maybe learn how to make great comedic content by taking comedy by the one and the only Judd Apatow. And many of you guys know I'm a big poker guy, and I recently got a chance to sit down and watch Daniel Negreanu, one of the greatest poker players in the world, teach poker. It was absolutely fantastic. But guys, whatever you're interested in, there is a class for you with over 180 exclusive classes taught by the instructors you know and love. And you can explore lessons in any order you'd like across your phone, tablet, Apple TV, computer, and on the go with audio mode. Individual lessons range from about 10 to 15 minutes in length that fit easily into your everyday life. Guys, I highly recommend you check it out. Get unlimited access to every class, and as a John Campea Show listener, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/Campea now. That's masterclass.com/Campea for 15% off Masterclass. And thank you to our friends at MasterClass for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's get on to this, shall we? So, Christopher Nolan and Warner Brothers. 2 words that for a long time, 2 phrases that went together like peanut butter and jelly. Like Siskel and Ebert.
Siskel, Ebert.
Like Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. It just went together, right?
Right.
Christopher Nolan made all of his biggest films with Warner Brothers and all that kind of stuff. Well, that all fell apart a number of years ago when the old ownership at Warner Brothers under AT&T and under their old CEO made one of the dumbest decisions in the history of Hollywood to take all their movies coming out that year and release them day and date on HBO Max and dump them on streaming, which elicited Christopher Nolan to write a now infamous scathing letter that said basically this: I went to bed working for one of the greatest movie studios of all time, and I woke up working for the worst streaming service. Oof. Yeah. And there's no coming back from that. That thus endeth the relationship between Christopher Nolan and Warner Brothers.
And
Christopher Nolan,
like, we don't feel so bad now because we're not the worst.
you know, Christopher Nolan held a big TV special on ESPN and announced that he was taking his talents to Universal.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
And he took him over to Universal, and now we got Oppenheimer coming out over there at Universal. Well, of course, a lot of things have happened since then. Warner Brothers is no longer owned by AT&T. The CEO was shown the door. Discovery took over Warner Brothers, and David Zaslav is now the head honcho over there. And we've got a couple of new studio heads as well. And they just did this big interview on Variety the other day. And part of the thing was they see their mandate, like besides a number of big things, like emphasizing our thing here at Warner Brothers, our studio is not looking at Max. We are a theatrical first company, a lot of good stuff they talked about. But they also took some time to talk about the Christopher Nolan situation and expressing that they want him back. This comes to us from Variety. And yes, they want to mend fences with Nolan. The Batman mastermind is perhaps the studio's most successful director, one who lit a match and walked off the lot after Jason Kilar, that was the old CEO, day and date debacle, grousing with scorched earth flair that he went to bed working for the greatest studio in the world and woke up working for the worst streaming service. One of the greatest things Christopher Nolan's ever written, by the way. They went on to say this: we are hoping to get Nolan back, DeLuca says. I think there's a world. Both executives concede that Universal Filmed Entertainment Group chairman Donna Langley is a force to be reckoned with, as she secured Oppenheimer after his public breakup with Warner Brothers. DeLuca and Abdi remain hopeful. Two sources familiar with Nolan, listen to this. Two sources familiar with Nolan say that the director received a 7-figure royalty check from Warner Brothers within the past 8 months. The payment was tied to his 2020 film Tenet, which the studio released. A source says DeLuca and Abdi and Zaslav all agreed that he was owed the bonus in good faith. No strings were attached, according to the insiders, but the studio was partly motivated to repair the fractured relationship. Nothing says I'm sorry like a $4 million check showing up out of the blue.
I need more people to apologize to me.
I love this. Now remember, it wasn't all that long ago that reports came out that David Zaslav was seen having lunch with Christopher Nolan. Mm-hmm. And we all speculated at that time that this is Zaslav going around saying, look, listen, the way they dicked you over before, that wasn't this Warner Brothers. That was a different Warner Brothers. Under AT&T, under Jason Kilar, these were different people. We value you and we want you back. And again, nothing says that more than sending a multi-million-dollar check in good faith.
Good faith, baby.
In good faith. Fuck, I got an advertiser right now who owes me for 4 months of marketing, and they are trying to dick me over. I'm not going to say who right now, but believe me when I tell you, I'm getting ready to go scorched earth on these guys. But I'm going to give them more time. I'm going to give them a little bit more time here to make things right. But listen, just getting together and say, yeah, let's send him a multi-million-dollar check. They want him back so badly. Because look, one of the things David Zaslav and DeLuca and Abdi have all said is that, look, Warner Brothers has traditionally been known as the place creators want to work, right? That Warner Brothers was the studio that was all about filmmakers. And that was the place they wanted to be. Under Jason Kilar and AT&T, that changed. And that changed severely with Christopher Nolan saying, I woke up working for the worst streaming service. And right now, they want that back, right? Zaslav, Abdi, they want that reputation of Warner Brothers back under this new Warner Brothers. Now, can they get Christopher Nolan back? I think that all depends on how good of a job Universal does shepherding and managing this Oppenheimer movie. Do they market it well? Can they get the audiences out to it? Because if it's a huge hit, I think Christopher Nolan's going to say, you know what, I'm very happy right here. If maybe it struggles, maybe he starts to look at greener pastures.
This kind of reminds me of, it's really far off, but LeBron James going to Miami.
Taking his talents there.
And then going back to Cleveland, going back home, getting that championship after, I think the owner apologized. Because remember, they had a pretty bad thing after he left Cleveland. Remember, the owner wrote something that was very offensive. Hurtful.
Oh, I remember. No, the owner said two things. He said, number one, James will never win an NBA title. And he said, Cleveland will win an NBA title before James ever does. And of course, James did win titles in Miami and then went back to Cleveland, won a title in Cleveland, then went to Los Angeles, won a title in Los Angeles. Yeah, that worked out pretty well for LeBron, I think.
If Christopher Nolan goes back to WB, it's going to be a win, no matter what. He makes good movies. He's made great movies under them, so I shouldn't see any sort of, especially with this new ownership. You know, they look like they want him. They'll do whatever Well, listen, the statements
they made earlier in the Variety article saying, we are a theatrical company. We are about theater releases, not about streaming. I can't help but think a part of that was directed to Christopher Nolan, too.
Absolutely.
Because that's exactly the words that Christopher Nolan wants to hear. What do you think about this, Chris?
These two, first of all, I really, really like Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi. I think they are wonderful. I think they're the exact kind of people you hope become movie executives, studio executives, because they love movies so much. But they talk in this piece on Variety, which Michael Donnelly did such a great job. This is such a good article.
Yeah,
I
really
love it
is.
so much. I highly, highly recommend y'all read it. They talk about how they want to give filmmakers the white glove treatment. And that's always been the impression I've gotten from these two of how they want to treat all of their creatives, is make everyone feel very, very taken care of, heard, and worked well with, that they're part of the collaborative process to help you, not hinder you, which is lovely. But man, they are having to not just walk things back that Kalar did, they're just tap dancing all over the place here. Hey, no, we're all about theatrical. We are not about the streaming business. Max is its own thing. David, you go take that for a second from us. They are having to put in so much work, it feels, to really make everyone feel like this should be the home of outstanding movie theater movies. And it is a hard uphill job that they are doing right now.
Yeah.
That number, though, given that kind of baby come back money, woo,
Baby, come back.
That is wild. And it's just all of it too right now is just, I can't help but look at it too with the view of, because I live in the Valley, so I drive by the studios all the time, of we're giving people this amount of money. We want them to feel like they're getting that white glove treatment. And then I drive by all these writers striking and everything. The industry just feels like it's such a mess right now. So kudos to Avdi and DeLuca for trying to make things work. I understand why Nolan did what he did. Ending a 19-year-long relationship is hard, but when somebody shows you who they are, let them. And he moved on to Universal, and it seems like he's having a great relationship. I think how Oppenheimer does and how Oppenheimer is treated is going to have a lot to do with how he moves forward.
I completely agree, because like the romantic part of me would love to see, like Ray was saying, I would love to see Warner Brothers and Christopher Nolan in business together.
Yeah,
I
a slow motion run towards one another. It'd be beautiful.
Christopher Nolan's at the airport. Warner Brothers is racing the airport to stop him from getting on that Universal plane. But at the same time, I'm also a little bit of a dance with the one who brung you kind of guy, right? Like, he's at Universal right now. What looks like they have made a magnificent movie together with Oppenheimer. And if they can get financial success with that as well, I think Universal right now has done a very good job marketing this film. Like the movie fans listen, this isn't going to be $1 billion film. No movie like this will be. But everybody I talk to, film fans I talk to, are all excited about Oppenheimer. They've done a good job presenting this thing. Mm-hmm. And, we'll see. If at the end of the day, though, Warner Brothers can mend fences with, I'll tell you what, David Zaslav has accomplished some pretty big things at Warner Brothers so far. They got Max to be profitable for the first time in a while. They've got they pulled the trigger doing what I think they needed to do to get the DC rebooted and all that kind of stuff. They've done some good things. But if David Zaslav can get Christopher Nolan to come back, that'll be the crown jewel for him, I think. That'll be the thing that he makes a plaque out of and hangs it on his wall. We got Christopher Nolan back. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that would be a massive, massive hit for them. So we'll see. All right. With that down, guys, let's talk about this, shall we? We actually made a video about this one a little bit earlier to do, but Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is coming out the end of this month. We're just 2 weeks away now. For a movie that, again, much like Flash, has been 15 years in the making, since they first started talking about doing another one. They made the ballsy decision to debut this film at the Cannes Film Festival in France. And it did not get the results they were hoping for. It actually got more negative-leaning reactions from a lot of outlets, the big major outlets that tend to enjoy Indiana Jones and Disney Fair and whatever, and a bunch of them didn't like it. Now, yesterday, they had the official world premiere in Los Angeles, and a lot more members of the press got to go see it. A lot of more people got to go see it. And overall, the critic rating for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny has now come up. Not a lot, but it went from the 40s something to 55%, which again is not great. And then a whole new slew of reactions came out. Now, we won't go over and read all the reactions again. We did that in a video that's on the YouTube channel a little bit earlier, but sufficient to say that they were all over the place. Like one reaction, Indiana Jones, the Dial of Destiny is a total blast. It's a wild adventure ride. The next one literally started off with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny stinks with big old, and that's what it is. It's kind of all over the place. Now, there's some things in it I like hearing, but there were some things mentioned that didn't. The one negative one that really stood out to me, and I can't remember which critic said it, but they said, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny feels more like a journey than an adventure. I'm like, oh, that cuts deep. That hurts. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny feels more like a journey rather than an adventure.
It's a personal journey.
A personal journey of inner discovery. Yeah, I don't go to
retrospect
Indiana
of your
Jones
life.
movies for that. That one, so I'll tell you what, as somebody who's been very excited about this movie, it ranked on my most anticipated films of the year. Not super high on it, but it was up there. I'm really kind of nervous. Now, Chris, we saw some footage.
Yeah. That was classic indie.
That was a good 15-minute scene they showed us at CinemaCon that felt totally classic indie. But we've had movies that we saw chunks of footage for that didn't actually end up being good, even though the footage they showed us was good. But okay, so now we've got the reactions coming out of Cannes. We've now got the reactions coming out of the premiere. What are you expecting out of this movie at this point?
I don't even know. At this point. I will say some of the reviews from Cannes I thought were a little harsh because so many of them talked about the CGI as opposed to the film, where it was, okay, well, I understand that if this isn't executed well, I totally get how that can pull you out of the movie and everything. But could you talk to me more about the movie? Talk to me about the meat and potatoes here, not just the sides and the trimmings, all right? But people coming out of this now, these other journalists coming out now are talking about how much fun they had. And really, that's all I want from an Indiana Jones movie. I just want it to be fun. This also has kind of an uphill battle, right? We all have seen these Indiana Jones films. We know those classic Raiders. We know Last Crusade and everything. And as Indy has aged, we've had to contend with an older Indy. And that makes for a different kind of movie. You don't have the young professor that everyone's just kind of swooning over in the classroom, right? The character changes and morphs as time goes on. And so some of the reviews I was seeing too were, this just doesn't feel as fun. And Indy, I feel like we focus too much on his age and stuff in this. His age is part of it. It's a big part of him. He's an adventurer who has aged. Yeah. So I'm excited to see it for myself and see how I feel about everything. I'm going to end up seeing it multiple times because Logan freaking loves Crystal Skull. So, I mean, I'm in this one and I'm probably in it for 40
Just be glad Helen Mirren's not in this.
If Helen Mirren was in this movie.
Like she's a love interest.
Oh my God.
You would already have 5 sets of tickets to this thing.
He wouldn't see it with me. He'd be like, get out of here.
But you said something interesting about how the fact that he's like no longer the college professor that everybody swoons over. Of course, that classic scene from the first movie with the pretty girl in the front row blinking her eyes with the words "love you" on it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I thought one of the shots in the trailer was really an excellent shot that was, I think, artistically meant to juxtapose against that, because we think of Indy in the college classroom while the girl's swooning over him, and then in the trailer, we see him as an old man sitting on a subway, crowded on a subway, just holding his books and stuff like that. And I thought that was a really neat juxtaposition saying, let's now visit Indy again way later in his life.
Yeah.
And whether or not that turns out to be a strength of the movie or a weakness of the movie, like some of those early reactors you were saying, I think that's going to be the key to whether or not this movie works for us, I think.
It was something my dad and I were actually talking about, he loved that moment in the new trailer of, imagine you're Harrison Ford or somebody who looks like Harrison Ford existing, and you still experience that thing that he knows that I will say that men my age experience of I became invisible, where it's just I'm an old man who's going to go about his day and I don't have the same kind of attention paid to me. And that's a very interesting and weird thing to go through in your life, to go through somebody who is important in a business room or in a classroom or those kinds of things. And then towards your later years go, what's my purpose? What am I doing around here? And it's one of the things that for him made him interested in this movie, because he thinks that he'll have an emotional connection with this as well.
Even in the movie, I believe they showed a scene in the trailer that he's retiring.
Exactly.
At that point, right.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting. Again, I'm still excited to see the film. I really am. It's an Indiana Jones film, but I think my expectations are being kept in check right now. And hopefully I'll walk out with what I will define as a pleasant surprise. We'll see.
As long as we don't have something like The Treasurer's Knowledge, where even he is disappointed, I'm okay.
Yeah. All right. Listen, we are now going to move on and start taking questions that our channel members have sent in. But before we get to those, we're going to take just a second here and thank a couple more sponsors of today's podcast. Our friends at ExpressVPN, and of course, my mobile service provider, and they should be yours, Mint Mobile. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, ExpressVPN. Guys, it is 2023, and online privacy and security has never been more important. You see, every device, phones, computers, tablets, has a unique IP address, which is like an internet phone number and reveals personal information about you. It's super simple for somebody online who knows what they're doing to find your IP address if you've ever clicked on a sketchy link or opened an email from somebody you don't know. Your IP address could become exposed. Now that's where ExpressVPN has your back. ExpressVPN is an app that hides your real IP address and replaces it with a dummy one, keeping you safe and private. And you don't have to be some kind of techie to use a VPN. Guys, it is so easy to use. Just download the ExpressVPN app on your phone or computer, tap one button to turn it on, and you're protected. And if you like your streaming entertainment, here's the coolest part. They let you choose what country you want your IP address to look like it's coming from. This is incredibly useful because services like Netflix and Disney Plus give you different shows depending on what country you're in. So secure your family's online activity and unlock tons of new shows by visiting expressvpn.com/Campea. Use my link and you can get 3 extra months free. That's expressvpn.com/Campea. Go to expressvpn.com/Campea to learn more. We want to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. From the gas pump to the grocery store, your utility bills and favorite streaming services, inflation is everywhere. Seriously, make it stop. Thankfully, there's one company out there that's giving you a much needed break. It's Mint Mobile. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. You guys know that ever since I switched to Mint Mobile, I've been saving almost 70% a month over my old phone plan. For people looking for extra savings this year, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. By going online only and eliminating the traditional cost of retail, Mint Mobile passes the significant savings on to you. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at ExpressVPN and Mint Mobile for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show podcast. Remember, guys, when you check out and support our sponsors, you're actually supporting us. So if you look down in the description, you'll find links and promo codes to all of today's sponsors. And thank you again to MasterClass, ExpressVPN, and of course, Mint Mobile. All right, guys. With that down, let's get into the questions that our channel members have been sending in, shall we? So, Chris, what do we got up here first?
From Sam Fisher. I'm really excited for this Netflix Ta-dum event on Saturday. Maybe it's because 2 of my most anticipated shows are the live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender and One Piece. And we've got nothing or next to nothing about either of the show's visuals.
Yeah, that's one of the neat things. We talked on our podcast a couple of weeks ago about the announcement that our first look at the live-action Avatar is coming at this upcoming Ta-dum thing. And listen, I'm not one of the world's biggest Avatar fans. I actually quite enjoyed the Avatar: The Last Airbender series. But I am very, very interested in this live action adaptation, especially when I started to see the cast coming together. Again, other than HBO, Netflix does TV series the best. Nobody does TV series as good as Netflix other than HBO. And so I got some high hopes for this. Chris, I know you're big on this franchise.
I love this so much. My steelbook is like in a shrine.
But are you excited or worried about this live action thing?
I was cautiously optimistic, and now I'm getting more and more excited because I really love this cast. The creators not being involved does make me a little hesitant, but Appa as Iroh.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do better than that. That is incredible to me. So I'm very, very excited about this.
And, just a little thing too. The creators were also involved with the M. Night Shyamalan.
I thought they weren't.
They are producers.
They're producers, but I believe they walked away on that because everyone's name is mispronounced and it's all white people and it's just weird.
You know, and winning cures everything. I don't think all that would have bothered people as much if the movie was good. But
That's
it's so
true.
bad.
It's one of the only movies I ever walked out of. God, I hated every moment.
So bad.
So bad.
I can't believe it.
I actually hope it's really good because it's going to be my first time watching this series. I'm gonna wait until the series comes out because I haven't seen the animation. Just because it just was.
Well, there's
one
a project for you before the show comes out. Watch the animated show.
I kind of really want this to be, and if it's something that maybe
Because you want to watch the new thing without the baggage of having
right,
to
exactly.
deal- Okay, I get that. Yeah,
and plus that initial poster that they released with that big hairy white dog-looking thing, and
the sky bison,
and the
or
bald
air
guy
bison.
looking up at him.
Yeah, that's Aang.
I think that looks really cool.
What's the flying buffalo's name again?
Appa.
Oh yeah, it's
Which
Appa,
is very
of course,
confusing when I'm like,
because we
yeah.
have Appa at playing Iroh, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my gosh, you'll love that cartoon though, Ray. Oh,
Yeah, you'll like it a lot.
it's amazing.
All right, what's next?
From Dork of the Ninjas. Yesterday, June 14th, marks the 10-year anniversary of the release of The Last of Us on PS3. Just wanted to hear your thoughts on the legacy of the game and its future possible.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. I still remember walking into Ray's garage as him and our buddy Ryan, and Ryan was sitting out playing this new game, Last of Us. They are simply, Last of Us 1 and 2 are simply the greatest storytelling ever in the medium of video games. There's never been stories told as well. There are other great ones. God of War is a great one. Red Dead Redemption is a great video game story as well. But I mean, Last of Us 1 and 2 has just made the best narrative storytelling ever in games. So it's, and now it's one of the best shows on television with the TV series as well. So it's got quite the legacy already. All right, what's next?
From Ian A. Barth. My girlfriend overheard you recommending the restaurant Lazy Dog recently and is now obsessed with the place. Damn you, Campea, for destroying my wallet while pleasing my taste buds.
Tell you what, so there's every town and every neighborhood's got one of these places where there's a building where no matter what business or restaurant opens there, it fails. And there is one of those in a plaza area that we live that a number of things have come and gone. I think Claim Jumper was the
Yeah.
last thing was there. I used to like Claim Jumper.
Yep.
But then this place opened called Lazy Dog. And they got this neat little thing where they have this big outdoor patio area where they encourage you to bring your dogs. And they'll bring your dogs their own little bowls and their own little dishes and stuff
so
like this.
cute.
We like it. And you know what? The food is good. And it's one of the less expensive places
Yeah.
we've seen, despite the fact it's got great decor, good service, good food.
They have a beer club.
They do that. I don't drink beer, but you get a number of benefits with the beer
Yeah.
club that I'm actually thinking about joining the beer club. Yeah, it's a nice little place.
Rob does it. You should talk to him about it because he loved it.
I don't know. I think I'm the one who brought Rob there for the
Yeah,
first time.
probably.
I brought Rob to the Lazy Dog for the first time. And so I'm going to have to, again, I don't know how big of a chain this is. I know of 3 locations. I don't know if it's going to be anywhere near, but if you have a Lazy Dog near you, I suggest go check it
So
out.
good.
All right, what's next?
From Dr. Stinky. I'm on my second week of Stranger Things rewatch, and I'm on season 3, episode 5.
Nice.
I just forgot how spectacular the show is. I hope we don't have to wait long for season 5. We already have the first 2 episode names.
I actually don't love season 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I watched season 1 because of all the hype, and and I thought, hey, this is nice. This is pretty good.
Okay.
I mean, I was really attracted to it because of the Dungeons and Dragons connections, obviously, but I didn't love it. To me, it's a series that's gotten better and better. Even season 3, that I know a lot of people poo-pooed on, I
like
really
season
liked.
3 more. Season 2, it took a dip for me.
Think so?
Yeah, for me, it was like season 1, season 2, and then season 3 is trending upward now.
Yeah, I like season 3.
Which
but-
is the one where we had the Kirkland X-Men? Is
That was season 2, and it was awful.
Yeah,
That's where I
that like
stopped
backdoor
watching,
pilot
yeah.
thing.
The punk rocker guy.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I
come
don't-
on.
I stopped watching during that season.
but season 4
Oh my God.
was great.
It's so good.
And I'm looking forward to 5. I'm actually I've rounded the midpoint. I'm in a rewatch of West Wing right now. I'm now up to season 5, episode 14, I want to say. But God, that if you guys have never watched West Wing, watch West Wing. It's one of the greatest television shows ever made, and it's so holds up. Actually, I think it's an important show. I think everybody in America should watch that show.
They really should.
Anyway, all right, what's next?
From Esteban Reyes. I'm watching a Korean show called Bloodhounds on Netflix, and if you're into boxing, you'll like this show. Ooh,
Well,
okay.
whenever I hear somebody mention boxing, I immediately look to Ray. He's the boxing guy. Have you ever
Look
heard of this?
thing up. Nope, I've never looked. Never heard of this, but I will check
Imagine
it out.
that, a Netflix show that no one's heard of. Imagine that.
Bloodhounds.
Okay, what's next?
From Dr. Stinky again. Hey, John and crew, finally get to see the long-awaited Batman Flashpoint tonight.
Nice.
I'm so excited. As long as it's better than Black Adam, I'm going to be a happy camper. Bring on the most filthy.
I haven't
Listen-
even seen it, and I think it's better than Black Adam.
Yeah, look, and by the way, I like Black Adam. I have some big problems with it. I have some significant problems with it. But can I know I've said it before. Can I just vent one more thing? This thing about Black Adam? It
What is your
still
show? Your
kills
show's
me.
behind you.
It still kills me that the thing the big bad guy is trying to do in Black Adam is raise this army from hell, right?
Oh boy.
And so this
It's
army
whack-a-mole.
from hell raises, and literally average people in the street pick up sticks and hit them, and
Yeah.
they fall to dust.
But it's the same 25 people, and yet we're in a city, but it's only 25
It's
people.
like, why are we
Every city.
worried about this army from
It
hell?
wasn't even a stick. I actually think if you really look it closely, it's the paper towel rolls.
I mean,
Oh, there's a.
Yeah, the inner cylinder in the
I'm
paper
pretty
towel.
sure I saw a baby karate chop one too.
That's why you got to watch out for babies.
No, but seriously, I'm like, what,
Shifty.
why was anybody afraid of this army from hell? These people.
I
in the
would have
streets
rather
picking up
had
sticks, hitting them.
Black Adam just shoot down lightning and it all hit all them at once and just
Yeah.
took them out.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, use your
that
power.
was just, but the people's like doink these skeleton whatever, and they look cool. They look real cool actually. The warriors that he summoned, but then
Very
they're just
weak
running
warriors.
or whatever.
I love the Justice Society in that movie, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did
oh,
too.
Hawkman.
Everything Hawkman and
Adam
Dr.
Smasher,
with
Wind
Dr.
Girl.
Fate.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were great.
All of that was great.
Yeah.
Please bring that back in the DCU at some point.
All right. What's next?
From Amin. Movie quote of the day. If you focus on what you've left behind, you'll never be able to see what lies ahead. That's from that's Gusteau from Ratatouille.
I recently sat down and rewatched Ratatouille because Ray had never seen it.
Yep.
And actually, our buddy Ryan had never seen it either. So Ann and I were like, come on over, guys. We're going to watch Ratatouille. And we sat down and watched Ratatouille. And I know that it's one of their best Pixar films, but you forget how good it is.
It's amazing.
It's so wonderful. And Gusteau, whether he's a ghost or a figment of imagination or whatever, like drops some heavy wisdom bombs in that movie as well. I love that movie. It's so good. All right, what's next?
Dildar, the Glorious.
The Glorious.
There were lots of games showcased at Summer Game Fest this year. Besides Mortal Kombat 1, I'm really excited for the new Star Wars Outlaws game by Ubisoft. It's the first open world Star Wars game with morality system. It looks amazing, coming out in 2024. Yeah, this game looks dope.
Yeah.
It looks,
Yeah, it looks
really good.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this. I'm excited for Assassin's Creed Mirage because I just love the franchise.
Yeah.
But above all, and it will encourage me to get an Xbox Series X, is Starfield. I will be putting so many hours into just.
I'm not
Building
familiar with
Starfield
this.
You what?
It's so the same people. It's Bethesda. So Fallout, Skyrim, but it's in space.
You watch
They have over 1,000 planets, and you're not just locked to like a closed section of the planet. You can explore the planets. You can put outposts on them. You can build your ship, customize your weapons, your everything. It's like a Skyrim type of game, but in space. I'm going to be putting in thousands of hours into this.
The coolest thing in their showcase was the character lands on a planet and it's just dinosaurs all over it.
Because there's different planets.
It's so crazy.
All right, you sold me.
Dinosaurs in space.
He said if you could see if you could see it on the map, you can go there. If you
So, like-
land, if you see it in the background, you could go there.
So like moons are really in synchronous orbiting and everything.
I'll tell you what, Ray,
So
when
like a
when we're
streamlined
done
No Man's Sky?
recording the show, bring up that footage. I want to
Yeah,
see
man,
it.
it's space.
But listen,
bro.
let me give you item number 121 of the John's ineptitude on console gaming.
You can play it on
list.
computer though.
You're done.
So Anne
You're done.
Anne was out visiting a friend of ours for coffee. So I decided I went into the theater room, loaded up the PlayStation 5, and I'm gonna get Diablo 4.
Oh yeah.
So I like the Diablo games, right? So I downloaded it on the PS5. Spent about 15 minutes downloading the 80 whatever gigs it was.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, great. Fired up. Took me like 20 minutes just to get my account verified or something. Like I have a Battle.net account, but it's this weird thing. Anyway, so got all that done.
Right.
Played it for 5 minutes, gave up.
Oh yeah, you're already in a good mood. I could tell.
I gave up. I'm like, I don't get it. So you know what? I have to
I'm gonna. You know what, John?
I'm so bad at this stuff.
I'm gonna buy you.
I should have just got it on the computer.
I'm gonna buy you an Xbox, and then I'm gonna just tell you to buy all the games on that Xbox, because so I can have
Just so
them.
you can have them.
Because you're not playing them.
You know what I need? You know what I really need? I need, guys. I hate that I'm so bad at this. Like I've said, there are two things in the world I wish I was better at. One is console gaming, and the other is drawing. I so
man,
admire
if I could
artists.
draw.
I admire artists so much, and I can't draw worth shit.
Yep.
But I honestly, dead serious. I think I need you and Ryan to come over. Hang out, eat food, and just help me get through this gauge. I gotta get over this hump. I gotta get over this hump.
I'm gonna tell you, I've been gaming on the Xbox consoles ever since the first one came out, and even till this day, sometimes I get mixed up with the joystick too. So it's not something.
Ray, it's upside. You're holding the joystick upside down, man.
No,
Ray,
no,
I
because
appreciate you trying to make me feel better, but
I'm just
my
saying-
level of awfulness cannot compare to you struggling once in a while with some things.
Yeah.
My level of awfulness, your minor struggles.
I will say
here
this:
and
I
there.
sometimes start to sweat watching John play. Just like
Oh yeah, when we're watching Wind Waker or him play, what was it? Link. What was it?
Oh,
Zelda.
yeah, Breath of
Whatever
the
we had.
Wild.
The Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
Well, we all were so good at James Bond. We crushed that one.
well, that was not our fault. That port sucked.
That was horrible. It was horrible. Do you need to invert your controllers or something?
Oh,
Or
I
is it-
absolutely invert the
Invert it
controller.
to a PC.
Yeah. Because it's the mouse thing, right? Like, so to look up on the mouse, I pull back.
Yeah.
So the first thing I do with every console game is I go into the controllers and I invert the, what's that, the Y-axis?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I invert the Y-axis.
Is it weird that I only invert if I'm flying a ship or a
No,
car?
because that makes sense.
I do
'cause
that.
then you're
Because you
pulling.
pull back on the
Yes.
stick.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
with like the blaster games, I'm like regular.
I had to
Exactly.
look
Yeah.
up. But,
No.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
I
have
thought
to
it was
invert
weird.
though, yeah.
No.
No. If I
All right.
leave them inverted, Logan yells, "What are you, a pilot?" And then like, I'm like, not in this game.
All right, what's next?
From CJ Rebirth. Happy 5-year anniversary to The Incredibles 2. Wasn't better than the first, but I'm glad I got to see it in theaters. I loved seeing Mr. Incredible trying to help Violet and take care of Jack Jack.
I'm actually torn about which one I like better. I
Ooh.
thought Incredibles 2 was fantastic. I loved it. And when Mr. Incredible became a stay-at-home dad, that's some of the funniest stuff I think Pixar's ever done. I thought it was the villain. The villain was a little weak. If I'm not mistaken, it was voiced by Ann Perkins.
Leslie, no.
It's
Leslie, nope.
Leslie.
Catherine Keener.
No.
isn't
It's
it? Rashida Jones. is who you're
Rashida
thinking
Jones.
of.
yeah,
But I thought it was
sorry.
Catherine
Leslie-
Keener.
Oh, you
No.
might be right, but I
And
think it was Rashida Jones is ultimately ends up being the bad guy in it. I thought that was her at any rate. You correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought it was Rashida Jones. Anyway, that movie is fantastic. 5 years. 5 years.
Is it bad that I like Megamind more than any of the Incredibles movies?
No.
I don't think Megamind's all that good.
I
It's all
love
right.
that movie. I
It's
can
not
rewatch
good,
that thing
Incredibles,
over
but it's
and over.
good.
I don't know if it's come out yet, but there's supposed to be a Megamind TV show.
Oh,
I don't know
ruin
if
it.
it's
Why
already
don't
there,
you?
But
They need to do a Frozone spinoff.
I
I'd
would
watch a
love a
Frozone
Frozone.
spinoff all day.
Catherine
Froyo.
Keener was the voice.
It was Catherine Keener.
She remains undefeated.
Was Rashida Jones in the movie at all? Maybe.
No.
No,
What am I thinking of then? I
she
could
had
be wrong.
she had to voice some villain. If you had,
I must be thinking of something else, but I didn't realize that was Catherine Keener. All right, what's next?
From Christopher Baker. How does the entire Secret Invasion show have a Rotten Tomatoes score if people have only watched the first 2 episodes? How does that work for shows?
That is how it works. that a lot of times,
Next question.
that
that'll do it.
the studio or the network, whatever, will send out just the first couple of episodes, whether it's the first 2, the first 4, whatever. They'll send out a few episodes, and then critics will watch it and they'll review what they saw. But the thing is, that is the only reviews that are then out there for a while, and that's what goes up on Rotten Tomatoes. That's why when you go to She-Hulk, you'll see a pretty. Look this up for me, Ray. The She-Hulk critic rating.
It was 80%.
Okay, that's why the She-Hulk rating was 80%, because even I do not like the She-Hulk show. I liked the first couple of episodes. So had and I didn't do this, I am a Rotten Tomatoes critic, but I didn't review this one. I only review like 1 or 2 things on Rotten Tomatoes a year. I really should get more involved. But if I had watched just the first 2 episodes and then had to put up my review on Rotten Tomatoes, it would have been a positive review because I liked the first couple of episodes. I just didn't like the rest of the show. And yeah, that's how that works.
And even the top or like the verified critics, they're not able to go back and re-edit their review at least one
you
time.
might be able to, but you're too busy. Why? Like, I'm not going to go back and redo work I've already done. You know, why would you?
I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah, you're right. So.
It's just, I don't really rely too much on any for television critic ratings on Rotten Tomatoes because I'm never really sure whether was this based on the whole series or was this based on the first 3 episodes, and that can be a very. She-Hulk is a great example of how Obi-Wan is another one that can be very different. I ended up being pretty disappointed with Obi-Wan, but I really like the first episode. I didn't mind the second episode either. So if I had just seen the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan and then went to Rotten Tomatoes, I would have given it a thumbs up.
Yeah.
But not after the whole series.
I guess the people just have to click on it. If it's like a review that seems too high after you watch it.
You got to just not look at the numbers. You got to then go read some of the blurbs. Right. Yeah. All right, what's next?
From D-Train, would the box office projections for The Flash have been higher if they used Christian Bale's Batman instead of Keaton's?
I honestly don't think so.
Nope.
I feel like Keaton's given this a big old pop.
Yeah, I think there's such a nostalgia value with Keaton that, I think they made the right move going with that. Obviously, I think the Christian Bale Batman movies are better than Michael Keaton's Batman movies, but I just think the nostalgia goes way deeper bringing in, and believe me, I think this movie works better with the Michael Keaton Batman than it would have with with Christopher Nolan's Batman. I really do. All right, what's next?
From a min again, out of all the films, comics, shows, and games you've seen, what's your all-time favorite Spider-Man suit?
I don't give a shit about costumes.
Bumptastic Bagman. Bumptastic Bagman. Yeah, Bumptastic Bagman.
Yeah, I don't care about the costumes about just about any superhero, so I don't really care.
I like the one from the newest one, the PS4, the one that was white.
Yeah.
The one, I don't know what that suit is called, but I think that's one of the coolest looking suits I've ever seen on. Because just the white contrast with the red. Because you know which one I'm talking about, right, John?
No idea.
From the PS4 game?
Oh, it's slick. It's
so
good.
I remember though it was funny though because in Morbius, when they showed that shot in the trailers of Morbius walking through the alley and there was the Spider-Man graffiti on the wall, that was from this PlayStation Spider-Man. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was the PlayStation Spider-Man costume on there.
As far as comics, I would say Todd McFarlane's run, his take on his structure and the look, but yeah.
All right, what's next?
From Mighty Tank 1, while doing Guardians 3 press, Chris Pratt made another comeback story joke while he was being interviewed with James Gunn. I was dying laughing because James was like, "What the fuck, Chris? Check it out if you're browsing YouTube."
I talked about it on the show, and I cannot remember the exact wording, but it had to do with a Chris Pratt dummy they made for the movie.
Right.
There's a scene where you see Nebula carrying Star-Lord as something, but it's not actually Chris Pratt she's carrying, it's a dummy. And it has something, I remember it was one of the filthiest, dirtiest things I ever heard Chris Pratt joke about. And I thought James Gunn was going to die. I can't remember the exact structure of it though, so follow the advice and go look it up on YouTube. It's one of the funniest things you'll hear today. All right, let's do one more.
From Benjamin Winnicky, I'm finally getting around to watching Game of Thrones, and I just watched the Red Wedding episode last night.
Ooh.
My jaw was on the floor. What a moment. This show is incredible. What were your guys' reactions when the episode first aired?
I didn't want to. I was like, I'm done with this show. And the very next week goes back.
It was the first
that was the
episode
reaction
I
of
watched.
millions of people.
Yeah.
Like one of the best things on YouTube is reactions to the Red Wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the best reaction videos online is the Red Wedding. And the number of them that end with, "Fuck this show, I'm never watching this show again."
Yeah, 7 days later.
Back next week.
Yeah.
I went over to my neighbor's apartment because they would come over for a drink. We're going to watch Game of Thrones. And it was that episode. And I had never watched Game of Thrones before.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what the hell is this show?
awesome. Yeah.
What is this? Why are they doing this at a
But
wedding?
when I rewatched it, and I've rewatched it several times, but the second viewing, I was like, they really telegraphed this happening. Mm-hmm. They really kind of like let you know Rob's going down.
But here's the thing, like for people who didn't know the book, you're going into this episode, you have what looks to be like the main character of the show now.
Yeah.
Because this is after
Ned.
Sean Bean had left the
Ned.
show. So he's kind of the main character, but not just him. You had like 4 of the main characters of the show there. And in one moment, they killed like multiple main characters in the show in one scene. And it wasn't even a season finale. It was what just felt like, hey, just another episode, blah, blah. And they all got killed. The stabbing in the gut of a pregnant woman.
No one was safe.
It's just
No one was
another
safe.
man.
Yeah, if you didn't know that already from this show
Yeah.
with
With Sean
Stark
being
dying,
killed, yeah.
if you didn't know that already, this was anybody could die in any episode.
And
folks.
the band, The National, were the actual like band players up in the balcony.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
and he was singing. Yeah, the singer from The National was singing "The Rains of Castamere," and that's when she starts to be like, "Why are they playing a Lannister song?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
One of the brilliant things about that episode is that forever the stakes in Game of Thrones went through the roof. Because stakes are about what could happen. And in most shows and movies, stakes are low because, well, they're not going to kill the main character. And with that one episode, every single time any character was in peril, you honestly didn't know if they were going to live or die.
you get pits in your stomach. You're just like, oh
Yeah.
god.
Yeah, it's the main character of the show, not going to die. Guess again, because every time there's any sword fight between two characters, or wherever there's a battle sequence, or somebody is scaling along the ledge of a cliff, or something like that, they could die.
Yeah.
And that show really made every single episode and every single scene made the stakes feel super high. Even a show that brought back somebody from the dead, like Jon Snow, even in a show like that, the
Sorry,
stakes were always
Benjamin,
super high.
for that.
What's that?
Sorry, Benjamin, for that part.
Don't
Just
worry about
ignore
it.
that.
Don't worry about it. If you guys know, I adore.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
wait. He's just started watching.
No, we were joking though. That was a
That's-
funny
that's
joke,
a funny
John.
joke.
Ah,
I adore Ben Schwartz, right? When he got COVID, I follow him on Twitter, and he was tweeting his reactions to the entire series because he had never watched it. He was like, I might as well get into this. I have the time. So if you want just a delightful kind of review of Game of Thrones,
Oh, I'll check it out, for
Go
sure.
read it, because it's him being like, wait, no, I need you to tell me that this is okay. I need you to tell me that this person's okay. And everyone's like, oh, Ben, no. Like, he's like, Sansa's going to be all right, right? Nothing's going to happen to Sansa. And everyone's like,
Define nothing.
what's all right to you,
Yeah.
Benjamin? It's such a good review. And it's him constantly being like, I quit, I give up, I'm watching it
and the
again.
story arcs. I mean, Sansa has a great story arc.
Yes.
And so,
Oh, yeah.
So does Jon Snow. My favorite is Jaime Lannister's story arc from beginning to end, you know?
Yeah, I need to
Yeah.
watch it.
Oh, man. It's
all right,
good.
guys. That's all the time we have for today. So that'll do it for today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to our YouTube channel members for sending in those questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, by being YouTube channel members, you're actually supporting us. And we thank you guys so much for that support. If you're watching or listening to this episode on our YouTube channel, one of the best experiences with the show is really on podcast form. Make sure you go on over to your favorite podcasting app of choice, whether that's Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whichever one you like to use, and subscribe to our podcast. It is the best listening experience. And by the way, if you are listening on another podcast service and you want to see a video of this, we actually put up a video version for free on the Spotify podcast feed. So go and subscribe to us over there as well. All right, guys, for everybody in the room, Ray Ora,
Yeah.
Jonathan Voico,
Bye.
Chris Carr,
Bye.
my name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.